The name of the planets in our solar system is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, but not Pluto. Pluto is not a planet, and it has not been a planet from 2006. It is a dwarf planet. But what is the real reason behind it? Let us just go ahead and see how the planets were given the name of the planets. Like, you discover a celestial body through a telescope and you see it is revolving, and you say, yeah, that's a planet. Okay, let's just name Mercury, Venus, and it keeps on going until we discovered Pluto. We discovered Pluto and it was fine, all and dandy, good, fine. It's a planet, 9 planets revolving around the sun. But the thing is, we discovered another celestial body in the same vicinity as Pluto, and we are like, is that another planet or what it is? There are so many planets around Pluto in the close neighborhood. When you see planets, they are far off from each other. Okay, and so the question really was, what exactly is the planet? So it was not like that they hated Pluto or they said Pluto is not a planet anymore. They sat down. Now, who sat down? Some authority who is governing all the names and the classification of the celestial body sat down and said, we need to define a planet. Now, let me tell you that definition of a planet is something which we are agreeing on. If there are 10 people in the community and 6 of them say a planet is only blue in color, then anything which is blue in color is a planet. That's it. That's how definition goes. If it's an arbitrary definition, it's just some a majority of the people are agreeing on something. That's how the name of the planet stuck. So they defined the planet in 3 categories. First, it should be have such a gravity, such an equilibrium that it is round in shape. Okay, Pluto was round in shape, and so were the other 8 planets. All good. Second one, it should revolve around the sun. Now, or be in orbit in the sun. All the 8 planets, including and Pluto, was orbiting around the sun, fine, dandy. But the third criteria was that the in that orbit, in the orbit which they are revolving around the sun, there should be only one planet. Okay, there can be many satellites revolving around. Like Earth has moon, that is fine. But Earth should not have Venus in a close proximity or in its path. That cannot be the case, because if it is, due to collision and all, there should be only one celestial body in that orbit. There can be other smaller celestial bodies, but it should be like satellites or maybe asteroid. That's fine, but not any other celestial body. But when we see the Pluto's revolving orbit, we see many other celestial bodies. So we said they are in the process of becoming a planet. They are not a planet anymore. They are a dwarf planets, and maybe in future in that orbit, all the celestial body collapses and there remains one. We might call it some planet name, and that is fine. And that is the real reason why Pluto isn't a planet anymore. Because of a definition we all agreed upon. Can be an arbitrary definition, doesn't matter. Can be is a definition. But if you are a 90s kid and if you learned in your childhood that the planets are 9 planets: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter, Neptune, and Pluto, in your heart, Pluto is still a planet. But that's okay, as long as it's just a naming thing. So, not to worry. Okay, but when you're going and investigating and you're studying the properties, better call it a dwarf planet and not a planet. But in your heart, you can keep calling it a planet.